Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
What if you could take all of the information that's in your brain, it's in the Post-it notes, it's in all of the scribbled notes you have somewhere, maybe it's stuck on the refrigerator, all the information that you as a business owner has helped you get to where you are today. And you were able to put it into one repository so that you could scale your business and even potentially start franchising. What would this look like? Well, today we're going to explore this topic as well as some others in Beyond the Pages with my guest, Penny Hopkinson. Penny was here on another show recently. We had a great time, and actually I just met with her personally yesterday to talk about using her services, which I'll get into. But Penny specializes in helping franchise organizations not only capture and structure, but communicate all the knowledge and information that all the individuals within the organization have. And many times this information is lost. I remember when I was in corporate and we were asked to go onto a CRM platform, which was Salesforce.com, by the way, and people were sort of reticent. They didn't want to put all their information in there because they were concerned. Well, I'm here to tell you it's the best thing that I ever did. Putting all the information into one place, especially as a business owner, coming up with standard operating procedures, not only to help your business grow and franchise, but also if you ever want to have an exit strategy, or if something happens to you and your family member or your business partner, whomever your beneficiary is, can actually walk into your business and take over. Let's welcome Penny to the program, and we're going to be talking about her book as well. She is the owner of a phenomenal company. It's called Manual Magic AI. Hello, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. I'm delighted to be back.
I have to say, from our meeting yesterday, we just met on Sunday, I was very impressed about your knowledge of the business. There are many times you might meet with an owner and it's kind of like, well, Bob knows that, well, she knows that, well, he knows that, and you really have a very good understanding. Tell us how it is that you came up with this concept to help capture all the information into one repository to help people franchise their businesses.
Well, in 2023, late 2023, I wrote my book, Manual Magic, Create the Operations Manual Your Franchisees Need to Succeed. And AI was in its infancy. I think we'd all heard about it. We were very scared about it. I embraced it. And then, very magically, AI came of age. And I thought, it takes far too long to create an operations manual, even with my very simple 3-step system. So what would happen if we combined my 3-step system with AI? So I built a prototype because I'm a bit geeky like that, really enjoyed doing it, tested it on a potential client, and the result was about 10, 11 months later, we had a fully fledged platform that we launched.
Thank you, Penny. I want to share with our audience, Think about some of the biggest companies in the world that started. Maybe they started in the United States, and then you're traveling, or they started in the UK. You're like, wow, look at this. This company's here. They're here. They're because they have structures in place. They have standard operating procedures so that you, as the consumer, you as the client, have a similar experience regardless of where you go in the world. So, how important is it to have a standard operating procedure? Some people think forms, more work, uploading. Tell us what your thoughts are about this.
I think they're vital because they give clarity. They give clarity to the owner. So if you're an entrepreneur and you need your employees to do whatever it is that they need to do, having a captured process gives clarity. And there are two ways. You can either document it or capture it on video. And any procedure that is visual, I think it's really important to capture it visually because that gives you a single source of truth. And when you're training, not everybody across a large network, for example, trains in the same way. And video, little how-to programs, gives you absolute clarity and that single source of truth.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Now, one of the questions that I know someone out there is asking, because sometimes people don't want to light the shine on what it is they're doing. And they think, oh, okay, what if there are holes in the work that I'm doing? What if there are areas for improvement and I'm afraid of being embarrassed? What say you, Penny?
Well, I don't think that there's any reason to be embarrassed because it's always the case of that really trite saying, you can only know what you know. But with the Manual Magic platform, we have a little wizard. It's called Ask Your Wizard. And if you have a gap, it will help you plug it. The whole idea is that it's a private LLM. Now, the difference between a private LLM like Manual Magic AI and ChatGPT or Claude, ChatGPT and Claude have their own very, very important place, and they're getting bigger and better and far more adept. But they can never capture your operational intelligence, and that is what makes the difference. It's what you document or capture, which you can do to some extent. SOPs are never available publicly, not good ones, because they're part of your business system, and that is private, confidential, and it must never, ever find its way into anybody else's system.
Penny, thank you. You literally walked me down the path for my next question, which is some people out there might say, well, I'm using ChatGPT, or I'm using Grok, or I'm using whatever, Claude, whatever it might be. Why can't I just do this myself?
Purely because it will never capture your expert knowledge. You know your brand. ChatGPT and any of the other LLMs don't know the nuances. They can't capture the DNA of your business. And that is what distinguishes you clearly from your competitors.
There you go, folks. You have the answer. Penny, in your book, you talk about the perfect blend of ingredients. Can you elaborate on that?
Perfect blend of ingredients. If you're looking at it from the perspective of the whole business system that you need to capture, that's the 6 categories, particularly if you're a franchisor or you're intending to franchise, because it fits neatly into very, very approximately the balanced scorecard, which is a system that was developed many years ago, and many, many very successful businesses, PLCs, follow. And what it means is that you balance rather like a traffic light. If you're in the green space, you're doing well. If you're amber, you could do better. And if you're in the red zone, after an audit, then there's something wrong and you need to correct it, and you need to correct it fast. So what we do is we have 6 categories. All the information is in those. Manual Magic AI will ingest all your know-how, categorize it, start building the draft of the SOP, and then it is up to you, because humans need to decide. It is absolutely vital that we have a human in the loop, because you will be able to decide whether Manual Magic AI has captured the essence of your business as well as the structure. It will give you clarity. It will give you a basis. And once those standards are produced, they don't just lie there for 6 months or a year. They need to be continually improved, and that's the secret of scaling.
I think you really hit the nail on the head. Actually, right before this, I was leading a team meeting, and it's about evolution. We have to continuously evolve. And so, if you don't have standards in place, if you don't have all the information in one place, you might be missing things. You could drop the ball because you forgot you were doing X, Y, and Z, because maybe it's something you do on occasion. But I know that you also, in your book, you talk about the 3-step process, and you also allude to it on the website. What are the 3 steps?
The 3 steps are categorize. So think of it as a 6-drawer filing cabinet. All your know-how, which is scattered everywhere, post-it notes on your computer, and those many files that should have been discarded, they should have been put into the bin because they're old. What you need to do is you need to categorize, put them into those filing cabinet drawers, and then put flesh on those bones. So you've got the categories. Let's say it's introduction, it's all about your team, marketing and promotion, day-to-day operations, and then finally development, growth and profit. All your intellectual property, your know-how, is popped into those drawers. Then all the information that lies behind it is further structured, so you've got complete clarity. And then you look at what the result is and put the DNA of your business, you apply it rigorously, make sure it's accurate, and then you've got a draft that you can perfect. So my 3-step process is structure, apply, content, draft, perfect.
And when you and I met yesterday, we actually walked through that process of the information that's needed and how it gets uploaded. And it was very simple. So it's just a matter of taking information and putting it into certain fields. And I know on your website, you even have the ability for someone to give it a try by uploading a document.
Absolutely. What happens is that you can go to manualmagic.ai and it will say get started. So you click on that, or try, and then it goes to the try field, or you can go straight to manualmagic.ai/try. Then upload a substantial document. If you're a franchisor, upload your franchise agreement. And then in 30 seconds, it will have categorized all the information it needs to get started. Obviously, this is only one document, and maybe it's only 30 pages. So it will work its magic. Then when it's finished, you will see all those categories, and you'll see a sample SOP under, maybe there will be 5 SOPs. I think it's restricted to the first 5 SOPs. So you can take a look at them. You can see that the same framework is followed from an introduction, minimum operating standards, roles and responsibilities, measure, analyze, improve, and the SOP. And that will give you a very good idea of how it works. Now, if you want to keep it, you can subscribe, but if not, there's no obligation whatsoever to go any further, but the SOPs will be lost until you subscribe. So there's a little bit of a, not a catch, but we want to make sure that if you really want to keep those, you can go further. Otherwise, it's all lost. So it won't be held anywhere, and your intellectual property is safe.
And it makes sense that there's a fee. You're providing a service. So subscribe. My question is that MAGIC, MAGIC, actually stands for something. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I think I can. It's all about the management and the ability, the generational differences. So if you're a baby boomer like me, you will love reading your text. I love following a process using just the text and well set out bullet points or 1, 2, 3, whatever. And if you're Generation Z, you will hate that. You won't go anywhere near it. So what you need to do is you need to capture that in video. So the next step, G, you go to I, intellectual property, and C, capture.
Thank you, Penny. And I think you really touched on this earlier, but I know one of the questions that some people have is about the security. So we upload the information, it goes into your database, and then what actually happens to it? How do we know who has access to it, or if it will be sent somewhere else? I recently read an article, which, by the way, I didn't triple check it, which is always impossible, about how one AI stole information from another. So how do we know that our content our intellectual capital is safe?
The first thing is this is a private LLM. So there is no question that you will be going anywhere else except for your subscription. So there are 2 levels. First of all, there's the admin subscription where you can do anything on the platform. You are in charge of uploading the content. You're in charge of editing, asking questions, generating checklists, frequently asked questions, and storyboards, because we go up to storyboard level. So the teams can create their own videos. Then there is the reader subscription. So if, for example, you've got a branch network, franchisees, or you've got representatives, affiliates all over the world, only they are granted a reader license. They cannot do anything with the content. You withdraw reader licenses when somebody leaves, or if there is some problem you don't want them to have it. That is their access is exclusive, and it will not go anywhere else. There can't be any leakage. It's on the AWS servers in London, in the UK, and that's where it remains. I don't have access to it. I can't see it. Only my developer would be able to access it if the subscriber actually says, please sort something out because I can't do it.
Thank you, Penny. We're just about to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the fact we are a global platform, so obviously people are watching from all different countries. Are you able to work with people regardless of where they are, and is it in English, British English or American English? We can touch on that. But for now, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to hear from our colleague and friend, Mr. Red O'Loughlin, with his new book, Aging Sucks.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.
Aging Sucks is available on Amazon and anywhere where fine books are sold. Welcome back to Beyond the Pages, where we are having a very fruitful conversation with Penny Hopkinson, founder of Manual Magic AI, about putting all of your intellectual content together into standard operating procedures so you can franchise, or you can have an exit strategy, you can have your business ready to be sold, or you can have protocols in place for onboarding new team members. Let's welcome Penny back to the show. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn.
So I had teed up the fact that we are a global platform and people are watching from all parts of the world. Are you able to work with people regardless of where they are? Are there some limitations? And what about various languages?
Absolutely fine. Doesn't matter where you are. You can choose the language of preference. And if you're American and you use the Z, then you can tell Manual Magic AI that you want it always to use the Z. If you're in the UK, of course, it's always the S. But it doesn't matter where you are. You can choose the language when you set the system up to understand your business.
Thank you, Penny. And so in your book, which I'm going to bring up again, you capture a lot of this information. And what I always share with people is information is not execution. It is not actually taking action and doing something. So purchase the book, absolutely. And then once you have the information about why this is important and what Manual Magic AI stands for and why it's important to franchise, then you can go into the execution part where you actually upload the documents and the content so that you can get a final product. So to me, the book and the website and the uploading to produce content is really one product together, one opportunity that you need both of these various, the book as well as the website. What do you think?
I think it's important to say that if you subscribe, you automatically get a digital copy of the book.
Wow. Okay. I love that. There you go.
So yes, the book gives you the framework. What it doesn't do, it doesn't tell you about Manual Magic AI because the book was published in October 2023 and Manual Magic was launched February this year. So I'm in the process of upgrading it, and it will be released, I think, probably towards the end of this year. But for the moment, the structure and how you organize all your content is there. It's the underlying process of manual magic, so it helps you to understand how everything fits together. And franchising is the most amazing business model. So whether you're franchising or not, regardless of that, it's a framework for helping you scale.
And one of the things that is just coming up to mind for me is HR manuals, for example. I remember I was in corporate and somebody gave me an HR manual and it was so dated. It was just, and that's what happens. Standard operating procedures also get dated. How do we stay relevant? You know, even when you think about your book, and I have books that I did years ago that are totally not relevant anymore. But how do we stay relevant with our standard operating procedures so that the franchisees can all have the most current information?
The important thing is what underlies and underpins the content of the manual, your SOPs, because legislation is always changing. Recently, and with our change of government, I think they brought in something like 100 changes to employment law, which is a minefield for anybody who needs to keep on top of it. But making changes on Manual Magic AI is very simple. And going forward, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're making a major announcement about a it's like a co-partnership. We are integrating Manual Magic into a very, very well-established and big platform, which provides our content for e-learning, for communication, so that the latest version is always communicated across a network, and thirdly, compliance, which with a franchise is absolutely vital. And if a lot of legal and other regulations are part of the system, then it helps keep on top of all this. There's nothing that leaks. Manual Magic AI is an entity in itself. It just means that you have access to more tools.
And Penny, in the word magic, G, I believe, stands for generating profits. So for people who sort of get lost with the admin piece, I'm sure business owners are interested in generating profits. So how does standardization and having this living document, which you can add to and make changes, how does this actually facilitate someone as a franchisee being able to generate profits as opposed to if they didn't have this?
I think this is really quite simple. You have a structure to work from. You join a franchise, you buy a franchise because you couldn't do it alone, and you've chosen one because you believe and you've seen as much proof as you can, done your due diligence. You can see that the franchise has got a successful formula. That formula is their business system and the franchise model. And therefore, you take their guidance and what they say you need to do to be successful, and you follow it. The success for a franchise is franchisees who replicate the system faithfully. I just need one little caveat there. Today, it's not about top down, it's about bottom up, because there is no one closer to the ground than the franchisees, the people who are in the business every day. They make little tweaks, little changes that can make a huge difference. And sadly, this is something that's forgotten by the franchisor because you're not supposed to make these changes. But everybody does, to wastage, to customer engagement, to the complaints process, you name it, they do it, accidents, incidents. These need to be captured. And therefore, we are planning an SOP innovation and engagement app which allows the capture of all this really important information.
Congratulations, that is exceptional. It reminds me of a reality TV show, and I can't think of the name of it. The word boss is in there, but I can't think of the name, where these executives go incognito in disguise into their business, and they're usually franchises, and they have no idea about the day to day operations and what's going on. And
Undercover boss.
that's it, undercover boss. And I'm always amazed. And they actually have to do the jobs for the entry level people and supervisors, and they gather information themselves. So I love to hear that this is something that you're going to be included, because people in the field are the front line of the business. And we need to be able to hear from them and what is the experience that they have.
All you need to imagine is if you had a network of 4,000 franchisees, like one of our iconic franchises, Costa Coffee. They now have 4,000 outlets, not quite as big as McDonald's or Krispy Kreme or even Subway, but substantial nevertheless. Imagine implementing a way to reduce wastage by 0.01% across that network, how much money it would save. And this is the money that's being left on the table if you don't find out those little tweaks. It's the Japanese form, which is termed Kaizen, and it means small steps making mighty improvements.
You mentioned a number of franchises, brands that we're all familiar with. There could be people out there right now who are watching or watching in the future, and they think, you know what, I'd like to franchise. So to me, when it comes to just thinking about franchising, it's about streamlining everything so that it's replicable. Because if we don't do that, then asking someone in another country or another state, another city, makes it even more complicated. So, based on your experience in working with so many franchisees, what are some traits that your business is ready to be franchised?
It is having clear systems. There is no doubt that having a clear, replicable business with systems that are streamlined is foundational. One of the things about franchising is that the franchisor will have made all those mistakes, all those errors, so that the franchisee doesn't have to go through that process. So it can be absolutely instant. Every business has a few problems along the way, and if you've ironed out 99% of them by the time you're franchising, you've got a wonderful foundation for your franchisees going forward. So the common denominator is to have this replicable system, which has been honed and sharpened probably over at least a decade. And then when you're franchising it, you need to pilot it. And that means testing all those systems, involving foundational franchisees who are possibly on some more beneficial management service fee for the first 12 to 18 months, and really make sure that it's a two-way partnership in the sort of loosest sense, not a legal sense, where the two sides work together to ensure that the system is watertight.
And Penny, as a standard operating procedure expert and an author, What are one or two things that you've learned during this journey?
I think the first one is that you need to have very specifically defined categories into which you structure the business. The ones that I was talking about earlier, they're highlighted in the book, and they are part of Manual Magic AI. Because once you've got that clear, you know what else follows. So you know that everything in, for example, marketing and promotion, what is your secret sauce? How do you do it that makes you successful? Map it all out. Get Manual Magic AI to take your business system, take your business plan, your marketing strategy, and start to map that all out. I mean, sometimes it's a chicken and egg. I've been involved with many a startup that didn't really have a system, and we mapped it out together based on all their intellectual property.
We've been sharing your various links as the show has gone on, but what would you like people to take away from this program, especially if they're a business owner?
The first thing I'd like them to take away is that you have an immense amount of intellectual property know-how. You may not realize it. You have it in blogs, you have it in press releases, you have it in checklists, even notes on the side of your computer. And that really counts for something. It counts for a lot. Use it. We're in an information sharing environment today. Knowledge is power. Use that power.
I love it. What a fabulous way to end the show. So, for people out there who are interested, as I'm very interested, and you and I are going to be moving forward probably in October, what is the best way to contact you? And I love the fact you're giving the downloadable book when people sign up. Tell us who is a good client and what's the best way to reach you.
My ideal client is an existing franchisor who really hasn't got a manual that works. How do they know that it's working? We have mechanisms to show you how it works. So that is my first point. A franchisor who's currently got a manual that's not working. But a franchisor who needs a manual is equally valuable, because then they can be shown the way. And anybody can get hold of me directly through LinkedIn, or you can email me at penny@manualmagic.ai, and I really look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thank you, Penny. It's been an absolute delight. I really enjoyed this episode as well. And I look forward to chatting with you as we continue to solidify our relationship here for Manual Magic AI and USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Jacalyn. It's been a delight.
Thank you so much. Well, friends, as I tell you on a regular basis, we provide the information, we give you the education, and now it's your turn. It's your turn to take action. I know myself, when I think about all the information that is in this brain, that's in this computer, that are on post-it notes, that are on books I've written about this business, that it needs to be in one place. Because as we continue growing, and I mentioned this at the team meeting we had right before this, the information has to be in a standard operating procedure for all the reasons that I already mentioned. And I know if you're a business owner, whether you are looking to franchise or not, you've got to get the information into one place. Let's say you're going on vacation. Let's say, God forbid, something happens to you. Let's say you want to sell the business. Put all the information into one place. I went to the site, which I've already shared with Try, and to look at how easy it is. It's so easy to just upload a document and you can test it out for yourself. You can also find Penny's books on her websites, which we have all the information here. She has 2 websites, and of course you can also go to Amazon and purchase a copy there. So thank you for being with us. And once again, you have everything you need right now in front of you. But what will you do with it? I hope you'll take action and contact Penny. Thanks again. We'll be back with our next show right after this.
Every day, we wake up knowing what we should do. We know we should take better care of ourselves. We know we should have the difficult conversation. We know we should stop making excuses. We know we should invest in our future. We also know we should take the first step. So why don't we? It's not because we aren't smart enough. It's not because we don't have enough information. And it's certainly not because we don't care. We live in a world overflowing with knowledge. Books, podcasts, videos, courses, experts, even artificial intelligence. We have more access to information than any generation before us. Yet so many of us are still waiting for the right time, waiting to feel ready. Waiting until tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And before you know it, another opportunity has passed us by. The truth is, knowing has never been the finish line. It's only the starting line. Our lives don't change because we know more. Our businesses don't grow because we know more. Our relationships don't improve because we know more. And our health doesn't transform because we know more. Everything changes when we act. When we choose courage over comfort, progress over perfection, action over intention. The question isn't, what else do we need to know? The question is, what are we going to do with what we already know? Stop. Why Knowing Isn't Enough by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Because knowing opens the door. Action changes your life. Available September 2026.
Every great story begins with a vision. At USA Global TV and Radio for years, we've been providing world-class education, entertainment, inspiration, imagination, connections, and hope. Most people don't stay to watch the outro or the credits, but it's the people behind every success, behind every breakthrough, and behind every unforgettable story who matter. The TV show hosts, our guests, our sponsors, our publicists, our production team, our distribution team, our search engine optimization team, and so many more. You're the ones who make the difference. Every great story belongs to the people who bring it to life. Our future looks bright at USA Global TV and Radio, and that's because of you, our loyal fan base all around the world in more than 60 countries. Together, we're making a difference because you matter. USA Global TV and Radio, live streaming to over 60 countries. Voiceover, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Video production and direction, Paul Garcia. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.